How many of you just love performance evaluations? I mean, you just live for these things. You can't wait to sit down with somebody. You just absolutely can't wait to engage with them and help them understand how things have been going in the office or the department. Yeah, I know. You dread these things like the plague. But there's some easy steps that you can take to make these more, I don't want to say enjoyable, but that they're more tolerable. I mean, and more productive. You're listening to the Human Resource. And our tip today is how to make sure you're getting the most out of that one-on-one or that performance evaluation. And I'm pulling today's material straight from a training course called Training the Team. And this particular module is, what do you mean to say? And I've used it with some of my clients, and I thought it might be good information for you, our listeners. So let's just start out at the very beginning, because one of the things I really try hard to help my clients understand is all the government agencies that are overseeing the decisions and activities in HR. And when we're talking about performance evaluations, we really have to stay cognizant that we've got Title VII issues that can creep up if we're not careful. And the EEOC is always watching to verify that we're not discriminating, we're not harassing, we're treating people fairly and justly. So let's just dig right in terms of performance evaluations. Why are you doing one? And I'm asking that because I want you to ask yourself that. Why are you as a company, why are you as a director, an HR person, why are you doing it? And one of the first things you should be coming back with me and saying was, well, Pandy, we do it because we want to provide accurate and current feedback. And I say current because I personally don't like annual evaluations. I think one-on-ones are far more productive. And you'll hear me, if you watch the shows, you'll hear me talk about success factors. Employees, no matter who they are, they deserve communication and clear communication, both positive and negative. And providing current and accurate feedback, that's the best way to start. Remember, too, to establish actionable goals for their development. The workers that we have in the workplace right now are very much in tune with their self-worth, their careers. Where am I going to be? Where am I going? And if you're not investing in that, your retention is going to reflect it. We also want to assure that the employee is aware of their impact on the company. And this is probably something we're not good at, us of an older generation. We don't go around telling people, wow, because you did such a great job, this department was able to do well. We were able to hit our milestones as a company, and our profit went up. No, instead, we normally tell them more things that are more important, like, wow, I need you to do something a little bit out of the box tomorrow. Oh, and by the way, I need you to work this Saturday, and oh, next time, let's not do that. Has nothing to do with their impact. What you're going to find is you need to take that into consideration. And then fourthly, create an understanding of expectations. Now, you've heard me talk about clarity. Well, if you don't know what the expectations should be before you walk in that door, then you should not be giving someone an evaluation. You should not be critiquing an employee's performance if you don't know the expectations before you walk in that door. And one of the biggest reasons is, I'm constantly reading, I found a wonderful article that talked about perception. And my listeners have heard me say, perception is 99% reality. So the perception of the employer walking into a conversation and the perception of the employee receiving the information, they need to align. one individual is trying to say one thing and the other individual is hearing something else, why are you even sitting there? You're wasting time. The study found that employees, when they converse and engage with their supervisors or management of a team, they're most interested in their status. Secondly, their impact on the company. And then they want to know what their opportunities might be. So let me break this down. Status. Well, how soon am I going to get that promotion? Oh, and how soon are you going to change my title? When am I going to get that corner office? This stuff is really important to them. Now, to my generation, not so much. We were more worried in the time that we invested in a company, the experience we were going to gain from the company, what we were going to get if we were there 10 or 15 years. This is an adjustment for us. If status is that important, are we giving them that information? Impact? Well, just how important am I? A lot of the individuals that I'm running into of a certain generation believe that you can't run your business without them. You're not listening to them enough. You don't seem to understand. They're important, whether you realize it or not. Their impact is, how much do you appreciate me? How much am I changing the company? And thirdly, when we talk about their opportunities, that's the kinds of conversations that my generation is very accustomed to. What do I need to improve on? What opportunities do I have to be developed and grow, or what do I need to change? And that tends to be how employers come into a conversation. That tends to be all we think about when we walk in and sit down with an employee. We're focused on, what does that person need to do to change? What does that person need to do to make us happier or meet the needs of the business? We're not talking status. They want to hear that first, and what we're trying to tell them first is, here are your opportunities to grow, to get better. Secondly, we're talking about an impact, because many of you have learned that when we're talking about, hey, I need you to change, and this is why, this is the impact it has on the company when you don't change, this is the impact on the company when you do change. So we're aligned there on our second point. But telling them their status in the company is the very last thing we worry about. And we probably need to get a little bit better on this conversation. So here's some points. And I've got 12 points here I want you to focus on and think about to make your appraisals more effective. Stay focused on the position and the employee being evaluated. Remember who you're talking to. Why did you hire them? What are their strengths? What are their weaknesses? What does that position need? What does the individual need to be successful? Stay current. Number 2, don't bring up old issues. If something happened 6 months ago, it should have been addressed 6 months ago. If you let it go and it's not happening now, don't bring it up. If it's become a pattern and 6 months has the behavior or the deficiency has continued over 6 months, yeah, bring it up because it's current. But don't go back and say, yeah, and a year ago, that year's gone. Number 3, give details and elaborate. Provide examples. Well, don't just say that she needs to be more organized. How does she need to be more organized? Does she need to file in chronological order? Does she need to file in alphabetical order? Does she need to keep notes and carry a pad with her? Does she need to learn better Excel and PowerPoint or learn how to use Calendly for appointments? Be specific. Clarify so they know what they need to change. Number 4, don't make promises. Don't tell them you're going to be a fabulous director someday if you do this or that. Or, well, I'm sure I'm going to get you that quarter increase. You don't know that. And you may not even have the authority to tell them that. It's better to help them understand how they can meet the needs of the business, but don't make promises just to entice them. Number 5, don't make it personal. Keep it professional. And what I mean by that is, so many times we forget to emphasize the needs of the business. Look, the business requires or guarantees our clients that we get work back to them within 48 hours. The company guarantees our clients that you respond to emails in 2 hours. Pull it back to the professional, the company standards, the policies. Don't say, I want you to get this done in 2 hours. I need you to get this done. Yeah, your goals may be directly affected by what this person does, but that's not what the employee wants to hear. Remember, they want to hear what their impact is on the company. They don't want to know how they impact you. Also, don't make it personal in terms of, I think your behavior needs work, or I think you have a bad attitude. So many times, and I know this is difficult coaching, when you're an HR person and you're trying to coach a director or a supervisor not to get personal, it's tough, but it's necessary. Number 6, don't get wordy. I think that one's self-explanatory. Keep it short and simple. Yes, we want details. Yes, we want to elaborate. But even metrics can be very concise. You need to increase your sales by 3%. You need to increase the retention of your department. Decrease or increase the retention by 10%. Or you need to decrease your termination rate by 3%. Whatever it is, it can be concise. Too many words, they shut down. Number 9, don't send mixed messages. This is probably the best one that I can refer back to say, look, there's never anything wrong with you putting a write-up, an evaluation, any kind of feedback documented. Put it in front of a second pair of eyes. See how they perceive what you're trying to say. Have they understood your intention? Are you conveying your message correctly? If not, rewrite it. Number 8, document expectations. Now, again, you may think you're doing this, but are you doing it specifically? I need you to complete this project in 3 weeks. I need you to make this change within 4 weeks. Document your expectations so that we can hold them to it. Number 9, use timelines. And I mean timelines not only with the expectations, but what about timelines coming back to, we're going to sit down and review this again in 2 months. Or let's sit down and see how you're doing with this training in 2 weeks. And meet those timelines. What does that do to an employee? It tells them that you're serious. That not only are you holding them accountable, but you're holding yourself accountable. Timelines are powerful. Timelines send a huge message in a one-on-one or in an evaluation or appraisal. Use them. They are very powerful. Number 10, add supporting documentation. If it's a company policy, if it's an SOP, pull it, show them. Say, look, this is what we've come up with in terms of your commission standard. Or here's what we found out to be the productivity numbers. This is what the quality standards have become. If you need to reread it, but this is why we're having this conversation. It's not me, it's the company. Supporting documentation is also really good for you when you have to write up an unemployment claim. Well, we showed them this documentation. We showed them this policy. We provided this training. Supporting documentation is probably underestimated. Number 11, document, which is, and number 12, my absolute favorite, keep emotion out of these conversations. I know that sometimes people think that it's the corrective action conversations that can be very emotional. But let me tell you something. If you're trying to have a one-on-one with someone and you're trying to convey something that they're not ready to hear, you've got to find a way to get that emotion out. And I tell my clients, look, you control the meeting. You control the conversation. If you need to, shut it down. Stop where it is. You know what? Apparently, you need to take a break. Why don't we come back and start this conversation again when you can be less emotional? Look, the bottom line is you're spending time trying to help this individual positively, hopefully. But if they don't receive the information, if you're not giving them the right information, if you're not setting the expectations and you're both being held accountable, it's not going to be as productive as it should. So what do you mean to say when you sit down with someone in a one-on-one or an appraisal? Think about it. This was a great little training module. I hope you enjoyed it. What do you mean to say? I'm saying thank you for watching. Come see us again.